I just hated this video I uploaded on Twitter the other day, and a bunch of y'all really liked it. So I thought might as well do a live coding session in which I show you my thinking on how I went about this onboarding flow and the code basically. And don't worry, the code will be attached at the end of this. And yeah, let's just get started. So very basic SwiftUI stuff. VStack, adding a bunch of columns. Each of these columns have their position, title, color, if it's a completed column or not. And then I have these. Now, the first step in the animation that you can see is I have this to do, doing, and done popping in one by one. Now, the way you go about this is very simple. So just create a stars and I'll call something called start animation, right? And I'll create a private func, start animation. And over here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove this array that I've declared here and initialize it as empty so that now I'm going to create this over here. Let columns, okay, and column. I'm gonna loop over this array and add it one by one. So for, heck, I can make this sync. Why not? Main actor. Wait. Perfect. Things work. So for column in columns, and then I'm just gonna do stars.sleep for milliseconds 500. First, I'm going to insert the column because the first time the array is going to empty, we want that to be populated really quick. So self.columns.append column. All right. And obviously with animation, we're going to add a nice, whatever you want. What's the latest trendy thing? Bouncy? I think. On export autocomplete, try, wait, post and ref. I love post and refing stuff. Don't do this in production. Okay. So with that, if we check, okay, did it already just play it? Okay. Adding this, doing, done. It animates in really nice. You can control the timing and everything. I'll let that be to you. Now, once this part is done, the next part is we have those cards expand. So on column, I have added a property called is expanded. By default, it's false. So what I'm going to do is, if you can see my column card is here. So when it expands, we want the state to go from this thing. We want it to become this thing, right? So if you can see the today thing, the checkbox is hidden, to-do card becomes white background, and there's a bluish, orangish, and green thing behind it. So very simple. If column dot is expanded, right? Just hide the checkbox, right? And, oh, okay. I must have hard-coded is expanded to be true. No, is expanded false. If column is expanded. Oh, yeah. If the column is not expanded, show the checkbox. Duh. And so, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do this. The next thing I need to do is, on this entire VStack, when it is expanded, I have to add two things. I have to add a redacted checkbox. So for example, if column dot is expanded, I get this time, right? I'm going to add a simple, this is a redacted task. And then you do this by redacted reason placeholder. All right, let me scroll up. And then above this, we have something called a task card, right? We'll come back to that in a bit. But then I have to add a background to this entire thing. I want it to be, so the background will be, if it is expanded, only then show it. So column dot is expanded. I want to show the column dot color and flip shape rect corner radius. So 16. Okay. So after we've added these, the next step in the start animation phase is, after all of this is done, I need to make all of them expand. So let me do that one by one. So now for column and for column, so index, in columns enumerated, right? Self.column, tricky. So what I'm going to do is self.columns of index dot is expanded as true. Gonna have all of these animate nicely. Again, choose whatever you want. Spring, bouncy, spring. Okay, so let's see. Does it expand? They do expand, right? Missed a few things. I need to add a dot padding before that. So column dot is expanded. Add spacing dot standard as 0. Let's see. Yeah, much better. So we've got that whole expanding animation. The next thing we have to do is we have to add the tasks. So now task view, I have something called task view, which takes in the column as a binding and whichever is the active column that it should be displayed in, right? So right now it expands, not active column is still nil. That's why task view is nil. And now over here, I have to go in and I have to set, the next step would be setting the active column. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make task sleep for milliseconds, say about 800 milliseconds. Try post unwrap. Oh, wait. And then I have done that. Again, don't do force unwraps in production. This is just for fun. I would ideally have done this, but no, that's not fun. Now we've gone this, we have to add the task, right? So I have to make the active column. And it's going to be looping over itself because it will keep changing the active column from do to doing to done and then back to do. This is what I'm talking about. So the task comes in by groceries, then it goes to the next, then comes here, and then gets set to nil, and then again goes back, right? So what I'm going to do is active column, start animating the task. Okay. So private on start animating the task. This is going to be a recursive function, as you can imagine. So what it's going to be doing is hard let active column. So find the current active column. If there's no active column, then set the first column as the active column. And return. Okay. If you could find the active column, find the index for it. So if let index. Again, let index equal to self.columns dot first index of active column. Okay. Now that I found the index of the active column, next thing I have to do is I want to see if there's now I've gotten the index, right? So now I'll just check if index plus 1 is, so I'm seeing the next index is there. So index plus 1 is less than columns per count, very basic stuff, right? Then I will just do active column equal to columns dot index plus 1. Else, you notice momentarily after I keep going, you take a break and then you restart the thing. So for example, once it comes to the last one over here, it disappears and then it waits and then it goes back into to do. So in this case, I'm going to do active column equal to nil. And then when I set active column as nil, the next time it comes here, it will go ahead and, set it as the first column, right? For all of these with animation dot bouncy. I know you can just do a modifier on this dot animate with active columns always is bouncy, but just for the ease of this video. And now we're done with this. What is missing? I am not recursively calling this, so this will work for the first time. So let's see, did it already finish working? So if we were to see over here on the right, doing done, comes here, first over here, did not disappear and go to the next one. Why? Because we did not call this guy recursively, right? And we have to call this guy recursively after it set the column after every few seconds. So what I'm going to do is defer task actor in force unwrap task dot sleep for milliseconds, say wait every 800 milliseconds before calling the next guy again. I'll wait and then task self doing done. adds the task in buy grocery, then comes here, then comes here. Awesome. We're almost there. We're almost there. Now, the only thing is like I have this fun, the cards float around each other and all of that stuff. So let's get to that. So if you see over here, when we start animating the task, I have the active column and sorry, no, yeah. The cards are expanded at this point, right? When the cards are getting expanded, one more thing that I want to do is I want to add the negative padding. So what I do is spacing equal to minus spacing dot standard. And now I can just put it here. So what happens is this spacing value gets affected and then I get negative spacing between them. And also when the cards are expanded, I want them to padding on the left side and then add an angle to it. So inside the column card, what I'm going to do is leading padding. So CG float, and then what I'm going to do is card if it is the active, if the column is expanded, right? If the column is expanded, else please don't add any leading padding to yourself. And then over here, I'm going to add over the leading padding. So I need to add a multiplier because odd and even cards is how it is moving around. So the multiplier will be CG float. And if the column dot position is even, then in that case, go ahead and add a multiplier of -1, else +1. We'll see if it looks right or not. And then let's take the multiplier and multiply it with 2 star spacing dot standard. Let's go ahead and add this. Oops. Adding, leading, spacing dot leading, adding. Okay, so should reflect. Unknown error. How could it ever throw an error? Why is the error happening? Jump and work. Okay. Yeah, so it's now padded it up. Perfect. Also, we have like an angle aspect to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy paste the same thing. Rotation in degrees. So if column expanded, none, multiplier. So over here, it's just going to be much simpler. If it is even, I just want to angle of -5 degrees, else just 5 degrees. And I'm just going to take that in right here. Rotation effect, degrees. What is it? Rotation in degrees. So yeah, if you see doing done, expands, nicely done. Now the only last part is if you see the cards, buy groceries, it's appearing and disappearing. It's not moving between these. And that's where namespace comes in. So namespace is this really cool thing which allows you to get, basically everyone knows who it is. So it's like a namespace. So buy groceries in this card and buy groceries in this card are two different things. They don't know they're connected with each other. So what namespace does is we send it to it. So we say, hey, this buy grocery in this card and this buy grocery in this card are the same things. So when this is getting hidden and this is appearing, just animate the transition over there. So this is how we're going to do it. So we have the namespace there. I need to pass the namespace here. So I think var namespace, you do it with namespace.id. Okay. So now I have to go ahead and pass the namespace in the column. So namespace. Okay. Good. No errors. And now what happens is when this task is hiding and appearing, what we just have to do is it's ridiculously simple. Match geometry effect, the ID. We just call this you're the task. And now your namespace is the common shared namespace. So if I'm not wrong, it should just magically work. Doing, done, animates. There you go. So buy groceries moves from this to this to this. And that was it. Welcome to my TED Talk. Thank you. Like, share, and I don't have any of that. Follow me for more such content. I hope to do more of this. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.